Hello everyone, I am Screen Scene Guru coming at you with a weekly updated video on television and movies I've been watching. If you guys are following the channel, you can see that I have uploaded a video on Kraven the Hunter. I was very excited to get into that. Moving on to the television side, we do have X-Men I'm going into. This is season 3 of the original animated series. But I do want to give a shout out to the director of Kraven real quick, J.C. Chandor. I have seen a few of his projects before. Going into the list of his catalog, he was responsible for All Is Lost, the movie about a guy in his retirement taking out his boat and then of course getting it lost in a hurricane, I believe, or out in the middle of the ocean, and him trying to chart with maps back to an island. So very interesting movie in 2013. And then of course the movie I watched of his was the 2019 Netflix original Triple Frontier, which starred Ben Affleck, Pedro Pascal, a lot of really big actors, and it was a assassin, mission military movie. So if you guys haven't checked that one out, Triple Frontier, he directed that. So check out both those films, All Is Lost and Triple Frontier, and this is his new comic book movie, Kraven. So moving on from that, we've got season 3 of X-Men. Starting off, we've got Out of the Past, part 1 and 2. A lot of these stories kind of are multiple episodes. But starting off, we've got Wolverine is lured into the Morlock tunnels, which are the mutants' underground Morlocks, by a former lover, which is, I believe, Lady Deathstrike with the nails. She's adamantium nails instead of in the movies X-Men. We saw they were a little bit done up a little bit better than in the cartoon. But anyway, Lady Deathstrike is accomplished by a group of cybernetic mercenaries who basically they're trying to get into a UFO, which is very interesting for the season to go into space in those first 2 episodes. Then we've got the Phoenix Saga in episode 3, starting with Sacrifice. I thought this was a really great episode. Professor X's visions lead to his decision to blindly send the team and Commander to a space shuttle on which they are then attacked by the Shi'ar agent Eric the Red, who was planned to ambush Larinda. Jean Grey experiences a transformation. So yeah, this is basically the Dark Phoenix in cartoon form, which is really interesting to see it. I see the director of Dark Phoenix. Let me pull that up real quick. Dark Phoenix from 2019. I know it got a lot of hate from people when they first saw it, because it was the first time this guy had directed before. Let me go down to this guy's name. It is on Disney Plus, if you guys want to check this out, of course. Simon Kinberg. So he's done other things as well. He did X-Men Apocalypse. So it looks like he's done quite a bit of X-Men films. It's citing him for X-Men Days of Future Past, all the way back to Last Stand. So yeah, I'm not sure why they're giving Simon Kinberg a lot of gripe, but I had heard maybe it was a script writer. I'm not sure, but someone had apparently, that was the first time they had done a project, and I heard a lot of negative views of that film. But it had a great poster. It was a interesting story. 2019, maybe it was the time it was released. But yeah, he was responsible for, looks like, a lot of the X-Men films, but also he was responsible for the 2015 Fantastic Four, which was with the young cast, Michael B. Jordan, and of course we had, who else was there? Miles Teller, who's only gotten bigger with The Gorge. I've got a review of that. Check that out on the channel. And he was also responsible for New Mutants in 2020, so not such great films. It looks like, the obscure Logan, 2017, and Deadpool 2. Looks like he worked on Star Wars Rebels, Triple X, State of the Union, Jumper, Sherlock Holmes, Elysium. He's done a lot of movie directing, Simon Kinberg. So I don't know why people were. Maybe I'm thinking the writer of the script, but looks like Kinberg done quite a lot. But moving on from the Phoenix Saga, we've got that was part 1 with Sacrifice. We've got the Dark Shroud, episode 2. Psychic probe is formed of a beam of light, causes Professor X to emit psychic projection of his dark side when he attacks the X-Men. So yeah, a lot of drama there. We got Phoenix Saga Part 3, Cry of the Banshee. So another really cool episode. Then moving on to Phoenix Part 4, the Starjammers, where we got to see X-Men fail to protect the Makaran crystal from the intergalactic pirates who plan to sell it to the king when they use Cyclops as an assassin. Phoenix transports the X-Men to the crystal, but Deanne succeeds in unlocking its power. So a lot of trippy episodes here. It looks like the top rated it's saying is on IMDb is the Phoenix Saga Part 6, Child of Light, where she takes the crystal back into the stun. Really emotional episode. Felt as though you were losing a core member of the cast, like Morph or like Iceman, Angel. All of these members we've lost before, so very emotional on that side. Then moving on, we got to the Savage Lands or Savage Heart Part 1. Then Savage Lands, Savage Heart Part 2. Going back to Sauron, the person able to absorb mutant powers to turn into a pterodactyl. Very interesting story there. It was a 2-part episode. Then we went on to Obsession, where we return to Apocalypse and his ship, his celestial ship. They mentioned the Eternals for a moment. It seems like they were able to defeat Apocalypse quite easily in episode 10, where he was a big baddie for the first 2 seasons. In season 3, they got rid of him quite fast in a hurry. Moving on to episode 11, we've got Dark Phoenix Part 1, Dazzled, where we got to see Dazzler show up. Interesting stuff there. Then on to episode 12, Dark Phoenix Part 2, The Inner Circle. We got to see the Hellfire Club. Of course, they called it the Inner Circle, but we all know what that was from introduced first in, I believe, X-Men First Class with Shaw and all the others. We even got to see, I believe, Miss Frost, the Psychic, showed up. So that was really cool. Then we got going on to episode 13, Dark Phoenix Part 3, The Dark Phoenix. Top-rated episode again. Jean Grey, now completely part of the Phoenix, returns to her childhood home, overwhelmed by too much emotion and too much power. So this is, again, straight up the movie, X-Men Dark Phoenix. Both of those episodes, like I mentioned, are basically cartoon forms of the movie, so I can see how Simon Kinberg was introduced to the cartoon, back in the 90s. I'm sure over time he was able to make it real life, a real adaptation to his vision. So that's really cool. Number 14 is top rated as well. Dark Phoenix Part 4, Fate of the Phoenix. Xavier leads Lalandra's mind and challenges her guard to a duel of honor, with Lalandra cannot refuse for Jean's Grey life. So interesting stuff. They're trying to separate the Phoenix from Jean, which I believe they end up doing towards the end of the season. We've got Cold Front. Iceman, former X-Men, is caught sneaking into a federal warehouse where he's captured by a former team. By Jubilee tries to help him. So a lot of heart in this season, obviously. We got Orphan's End, where the Shi'ar authorities are trying to capture Cyclops' dad. We get to find out Cyclops had a father that went to the stars. Kind of like the story with Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. So very interesting stuff there. I thought one of the fascinating things was when Jean Grey first became the Phoenix and went out into space. We saw people around the globe recognize her power. Like Thor's hammer glue. We got to see Doctor Strange in the Sanctum Sanctorum. And then when she flew out into space, we got to see the Watcher, what seemed to be like hanging out with Inhumans on the moon. So a lot of key Marvel characters that they're now focusing on What If and other shows that they even had them done up in the 90s. So I thought that was really awesome because they had all the comic book story to go forward from there, as well as the Spider-Man stuff. But moving on to episode 17, Juggernaut returns. Juggernaut's life is at risk when someone else uncovers the ruby of Tykrok, and claims the power of the Juggernaut for himself. It's a very interesting episode there. Then we move on to the Nightcrawler episode. On holiday, Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine must protect Nightcrawler, a demonic-looking but kind-hearted monk from this misleading community. So this is also in X-Men 2. So interesting to see Weapon X, Lies, and Videotape. This was episode 19. Wolverine discovers everything about his past in the government program. Weapon X was a lie, including his love affair with Silver Fox. So yeah, really convoluted ending to season 3, but I did get to at least the beginning of season 4, which started out like One Man's Worth Part 1. Trevor Fitzroy and Batman travel back in time to 1959 to kill Professor X. Batan. So yeah, a lot of weird stories with time travel now. They've gone to space, they're going to time. Interesting to see where the season's going. I've got 2 more seasons just to catch up to X-Men 97. But let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. Let me know, are there any animation shows I should be watching right now on Netflix or abroad? What are you guys currently watching? Be sure to stay up to date on all my videos, catching my clips on Instagram and on Threads. Until next time, guys, ciao, and have a good one. Stay safe. Bye-bye.